Hi everyone, this is Jim Bussard meeting with you on the Morning Jolt. These podcasts are focused on improving digital literacy in the classroom and provoking thought. We also hope to use it as a platform for teachers and students to share their amazing ideas. These podcasts will be available from the Tech4Teachers website found on the Teacher Hub. The most current show will be shared on the Hub at the beginning of each week. Also, don't forget, if you have a great idea or would like to participate in an upcoming Morning Jolt podcast, we'd love to hear from you. If you have feedback on the latest episode, please share your thoughts in the comments section below. So, welcome everyone. Here we are at our third podcast. We're here with an excellent group. We have Mr. Sterling once again, Tori Ginter, Ben Billsborough, and Jimana Sierra, who are all here together, and we're going to be discussing innovations and inventions today. So let's get back to like a bigger picture. So we're thinking back past even the age of myself and Mr. Sterling. We're going way back in time. If you think of anything that you've learned, whether it's in school or outside of the school, where you went, wow, that really changed the world. If that didn't happen, the world would probably be a different place today.
I was watching this video on YouTube, and it's like the first video camera, like the first thing that came out, and it's like you learn about how like the first camera was, and I think it had like 16 lenses and stuff, and it's just like crazy because like I think when people like that first came out, they're like, whoa, like we can capture stuff and like we can look at it over and over again, and I think that really changed like a lot.
Yeah, think about how it's changed the database of history. Like now it's actual real evidence that's showing it. It's not coming from word of mouth anymore.
Yeah.
Well, or just words on paper. It's like, or drawings. It's just people.
It's not an interpretation, I guess, is the difference, right?
Yeah.
It's a factual event that's on camera. But I guess it depends too on what they videotaped.
Yeah.
Because there could be a bias depending on what you videotape too. But
yeah, well, I'm thinking about your question, and I'm a big believer in everything affects everything.
Okay, but what's a big monumental thing?
The thing, like the most stereotypical thing that comes in my head is like the wheel being invented.
Yeah.
Or even
that was big.
I remember that.
we were very happy when that
has
happened.
Progressed. People riding goats to driving sports cars, even that is just like a huge breakthrough time. I mean, horses, like camels. Actually, people still do that, but
and now they're sports
to cars. I mean, everything affects everything. Everything is it's.
Okay, let's take everyone back to elementary school.
All right.
Okay,
All right.
when you guys were back in elementary school and you think about the classroom you were in, how has the teaching changed with technology from when you were, because you were kind of, when you're in younger elementary school, it wasn't really big though. It was there, but not like it is now. Have you seen a change in the way that teaching is?
Oh yeah, I have a 10-year-old brother, and like I just see a lot. Like the other day, our Wi-Fi went down for like an hour, and he was pretty much like having an anxiety attack. When we go to parent interviews, my mom usually takes me with her, and we go, and like everything that they do is usually like on the smart board. Like it's not so much like the kids are writing and stuff, and it's like when they do write, it's just absolutely hideous because they're not used to like picking up a pencil and writing down on paper. It's usually like done on like an iPad, a computer, and stuff like that.
Think about smart boards is like the biggest thing I think when I was in school, it was more recent. I remember being in elementary school and having them installed, which was like, whoa, like that's so cool. And yeah, like the teaching changed, not having to bring that huge TV into the classroom and like set it all up, and then it would cut out every 5 minutes. That you could just press a button and have a YouTube video up on the screen, which was just amazing and like work a lot of the time.
But it's a lot different than it's like everything. They just search into their computer, and there's websites to teach like everything,
Well, what was like a huge breakthrough for you guys in school, like university, college as well? Like what was a huge technology breakthrough that you remember? Like, and how did you guys change your teaching ways? Like, was it easier?
Way easier. Yeah, because in the old days it was chalkboard, which was a pain to you. I never liked chalk.
No,
ever.
yeah.
Oh, no, racing
and then overheads, the overhead projector.
Yeah.
So you'd write out all your stuff on overheads.
Oh,
put
yeah,
them on
I remember that thing.
And then you keep them neat in a folder.
It's like little clear paper.
And then you get these fancy color overheads that you'd use.
Usually science department got those.
Those.
Wow.
Yeah, and computers wasn't part of it at all for a little while, for me anyway, maybe for you.
There was a program called called Ask Eric, and it was just a DOS form database. There's no graphical interface on it at all, but it was the first place that I could go in and do a search for some other scholarly articles. And you couldn't do that before, but they have this database that you could go in, and it's the first time that you could actually find information from other places. But I think as far as us go as teachers, when you guys were young, computers were starting, but most of the resources were coming from textbooks, and they're coming from the knowledge of your teacher. Myself, I would argue that the biggest innovation that has hit the world is the World Wide Web.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Once the World Wide Web hit, the amount of information that was exchanged between people all over the world became monumental. It happened so fast, and it continues to happen.
Yeah.
That's how all the innovations are happening. But the one thing that I have an issue with is, like in the classroom, it's great because as long as a teacher, you can reconcile and say, okay, I'm not the smartest person in the room anymore. Everyone in here is coming in with a lot of aptitudes and a lot of information. And outside of this room, that's where we're getting all our information now. Yeah. I'm just trying to facilitate that, and I'm trying to guide conversations and create an environment where we're going to be learning.
That's good.
If you can do that as a teacher, I think that's where we're at now. But the issue that I have, that I'm concerned about, is we have all of this information out there, and you guys have talked about the dark side of the internet. There's a tremendous amount of value systems out there, and all those value systems are all being sold on the internet. So before, when we were growing up, like Mr. Sterling and I, we'd go in the classroom and we basically grew up on the virtues of Canada and what our belief system is, what was right, what was wrong, what was moral, what was ethical. But now we're working outside the boundaries of our country, and out of what we believe as a country isn't necessarily the same as what they believe in Iraq or what terrorists are believing that are going around the world. I truly believe they think that what they're doing is right, because that's what they grew up with, and that's what their belief system and everything that they've experienced feels like that's the right way to live your life.
Yeah.
Okay, and we argue it because that's not how we grew up. Okay, and they think we're crazy, we think they're crazy. Mm-hmm. Okay, but that's because we have different value systems, and that's what the internet has caused, is this earth-shaking,
put in like labels,
moral dilemma that everyone's having. But we're trying we're trying to utilize it, but at the same time it does cause a lot of issues. Like, how do you guys feel about it in the classroom? Like, when I love the fact that we talked about how the medical field has been influenced. You talked about how armies and war has influenced what's happening in the world. We've talked about technology, and we're just starting to talk about education. Like, what are some other things that you've noticed in the classroom that you like?
I've formed perspectives on things that I've seen on the internet. Believe everything you see on the internet. It's all true.
Yeah.
You know, I learn a lot more in class than something I see on Instagram. Mm-hmm. Did you know Hitler was actually a believer of Santa Claus? Like, stuff like that, you know, just stupid little things like that. Not direct information.
So how's it, like, I think about social class.
Me
This
too.
must be talked about a lot in social class, knowing what sources are valid and what ones you should trust and which ones you should question. But you bring up another great thing, Tori, is about you analyzing and deciding what is good information or what you want to believe in, what you don't have to believe in. I don't think we had to do that growing up. I think we just trusted everything that was shared with us in the class.
Because the source was so limited. The source was basically an encyclopedia. I remember doing research projects with encyclopedias, and people come door to door selling encyclopedias. That was your source of good information. But now it's all about access. Now between YouTube and the internet, you can access so much information.
It's so convenient.
Compare and contrast and talk about, and pretty much anything. You can learn it much quicker. So, like, hypothetically, we should be much smarter as a population because of technology. But I wonder if we are. I wonder.
Well, I feel like
I think it's changed, right?
Yeah, like, I don't know, like, yeah, we do have like the internet and stuff, but like, does it make us necessarily brighter, you know? Because like, it's just so easy. Like, you don't have to like really know stuff. Like, you just search it up and it's there. Mm-hmm. But like before, it's like you had to work on stuff and like you had to read it. And I feel like it's just like it was just always there, you know? Like,
when I was in high school, my English teacher had us reading books that I would never assign to kids now, but we read them. So we read a book called The Mill on the Floss, which is a Victorian novel. It's about 800 pages long, and we read it as grade 11 kids. And I can't even think about assigning going to a book like that. So I don't know. I wonder if just over time, maybe our attention span isn't as good. I don't know.
Yeah, but like before, I think like you had to like put more thought into it, you know, because it wasn't as easy to just like go and search it up and like the answers were all there. Like for us now, it's just like, in this book it's asking this, so like just Google it and it's there.
But a lot of the times when we were in class, there wasn't a lot of information to know. So we would memorize it and we'd have to learn it and we'd have to recall it. That was a lot of the learning that took place when we were growing up.
Yeah,
now they're saying there's
that's what I
way
mean, like,
too much
You have
information.
to put a lot of like brain and thought into it, like to actually come up with the answers that made sense. And like now, it's like people that have done like essays and stuff, you literally just Google it and there's a full essay there. Like you can just base everything off of there. It's not as much as like your own thought and stuff. So like, you know.
I wish I remembered his name. He's a Canadian psychologist, but he talks a lot about the new IQ being a person that can be extremely good with social media to find and access information and to lobby and get groups together, and also a person that's really good at finding information off the internet. Being able to go out there and know the sources and know how to get it so you have it as quick as possible. Like those are two skills that we really didn't have to worry about when we were growing up.
Yeah.
And they become very, very important skills to have now. Now, what about if you were to learn something, if there's something you just went, you know, I want to learn how to do this, how would you go about doing that?
I did that a while ago, actually.
So what'd you do?
I wanted to learn how to play piano, and I was busy back then. I had theater tech and a couple other. I had a job too, so it was kind of hard to find time. But at my lunches, I would just pick a song that I wanted to learn, and I was like, and then you just search it up on YouTube, and it's like how to play this song, and then there'll be visual representations or sheet music or anything that you can think of under the sun. They would have that to help you learn. So I just find that it's just so much easier to learn things on your own time.
Yeah. It makes me admire those musicians back in the day that were so good before the days of technology. Because now it is much easier.
All right. Well, I think we're going to conclude this episode of The Daily Jolt. And we thank Tori, Imana, Ben, Mr. Sterling for another excellent episode.
Thanks for having us, Mr. Bussard.
Yes, thank you
You're
for
welcome.
having us.
We went through, we went way longer than expected. This is going to take a long time to go through and
I am so
compile all the information and it's going to be hard to come up with what's important and what isn't, because you guys shared a lot of really awesome information.
Maybe you can clone yourself and get someone else to edit.
We have to hide from Jessica. We got to find
That's
a
right.
classroom.